From our Chicago studios, this is the Muslim News on Muslim Network TV. Assalamu alaikum, I'm Samana Siddiqui. Our top story tonight. Rescue teams have intensified their search for two missing children after torrential rains hit Philadelphia on Saturday. 9-month-old Conrad Shields and his 2-year-old sister Matilda were swept away by the waters as the family was on their way to visit relatives. A search team of 100 people and numerous drones have been deployed to find the missing siblings. The children's mother was also swept away and later found dead. Their grandmother survived the flood on a road along the bank of a creek in Bucks County. So far, 5 people have been killed in the flooding. 6 to 7 inches of rain fell in the area in less than an hour. At least 11 vehicles were stuck in the area and several roads were damaged. Heavy rain has caused flash flooding in several areas of the region, including in New York and New Jersey. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken has condemned Russia's decision to withdraw from the Black Sea grain deal. He called the move unconscionable and called on Russia to reverse its decision. The Black Sea grain deal was signed last July by Turkey, the UN, Russia, and Ukraine. Its aim was to ease the global food crisis by allowing the safe export of Ukrainian grain, which had been blocked by the war. Blinken warns that Russia's decision will likely have a profound chilling effect on other countries' willingness to export grain from Ukraine. He says the U.S. and others will look for any other options to get grain out of the country. Experts say that it will be a challenge to find a way to do so safely. Millions of sensitive U.S. military emails have been accidentally sent to Mali for years due to a typo. The emails were misdirected because people typed in .ml, the domain for the West African nation, instead of the U.S. military's .mil domain name. Unintentional leaks have exposed highly sensitive information that includes diplomatic documents, tax returns, passwords, and the travel details of top officers. The issue was first reported by Dutch internet entrepreneur Johannes Zurbier, who manages Mali's country domain. He says he has collected nearly 117,000 misdirected emails from within the Pentagon since January. Pentagon spokesman Tim Gorman says the Defense Department is aware of the issue and that corrective measures have been taken to ensure emails do not land in any unauthorized domain. A group of legal organizations has filed a federal lawsuit against a new Florida law that seeks to crack down on undocumented immigrants. The new law requires hospitals that accept Medicaid to ask on forms whether a patient is in the U.S. legally. It also punishes those employing undocumented immigrants. In addition, it expands a Florida law enforcement's authority to take action against anyone transporting an illegal immigrant. Plaintiffs argue the law is unconstitutional, xenophobic, and will increase unlawful racial vetting of Florida's black and brown population. They fear it will drive undocumented immigrants underground and make it harder for them to access essential services. The lawsuit is led by the Southern Poverty Law Center's Immigrant Justice Project. Plaintiffs include the state and federal ACLU, the American Immigration Council, and Americans for Immigrant Justice. The mayor of Richmond, Virginia, is calling on federal lawmakers to recognize the achievements of Muslim Americans. Richmond has declared July as Muslim American Heritage Recognition Month. Mayor LeVar Stoney is urging lawmakers on Capitol Hill to do the same at the federal level. Stoney held a special roundtable event at City Hall to designate the month in recognition of the community. Roundtable participants were Senator Ghazala Hashmi, Ammar Amonet of the Islamic Center of Virginia, and Imam Michael Abdul Hakim of Masjid Bilal. Stoney urged residents to appreciate the rich history, culture, and shared principles of Muslim Americans. He called for working together to show respect and compassion for one another, regardless of skin color or religion. Israeli forces have demolished a Palestinian village in the southern Negev region for the 219th time. Activist Aziz Al-Turi says the village of Al-Araqib was razed without considering the suffering of its residents in the hot weather. The village is inhabited by 22 Palestinian families. It was first demolished in 2010. Government officials often demolish buildings, and the villagers rebuild their homes after each demolition. Israeli authorities claim the land on which the village is located belongs to them. The residents are Arab citizens of Israel who were expelled in 1951 when Israel claimed the area as state land. Israeli authorities are still trying to gain control of the land and evict its residents. Dozens of villages and Bedouin communities in the Negev region are under a similar threat. Nigeria declares food emergency. Details after the break, so stay tuned and we'll be right back. Welcome back. Nigeria has declared a state of emergency over food security. UNICEF reports that nearly 25 million Nigerians are at risk of facing hunger between June and August 2023. President Bola Tinubu has announced that all water and food resources now fall under the National Security Council's mandate. The president's communications aide, Dele Alake, says fertilizer and seeds in government stores will be released to farmers. He also notes that the removal of the West African country's fuel subsidy program has affected many households. Tinubu is also planning to create ranches in all Nigerian states. Alake says the national government will pay for the land surrendered to the state by their owners. The government has pledged to bring over 1 million acres of government land under agriculture to increase food production. China has introduced a series of security measures in the western Muslim-dominated province of what it calls Xinjiang. These include banning gatherings of more than 30 people and unauthorized religious activities. Authorities claim they have launched a 100-day campaign to crack down on illegal mafias and criminal organizations. People visiting Xinjiang, including those seeing relatives, have been asked to report to neighborhood committees or a local police station within 3 days of arrival. Authorities have warned violators may face imprisonment, fines, or other forms of punishment. Experts say the crackdown coincides with the 14th anniversary of ethnic violence in Urumqi, the capital of Xinjiang. Human rights groups have accused China of committing genocide against the Uyghurs. They say the new campaign is likely to further restrict their freedoms. In related news, at least 90 Uyghur teenage girls are being forced to work in a Chinese-run garment factory in Xinjiang province, according to media reports. The girls aged 16 to 18 were sent to the factory against their will by local authorities. They are forced to work 14 hours a day, 7 days a week, and are often verbally and physically abused, the reports say. They receive a monthly wage equivalent to $42 to $56. According to reports, the girls were sent to the Wanhei garment factory under a secret agreement with the nearby Yarkand Vocational High School. Major companies such as Zara and Uniqlo are facing scrutiny of their supply chains for evidence of Uyghur forced labor. Under the U.S. Uyghur Forced Labor Prevention Act, companies must prove their goods were not made with Uyghur forced labor. Last April, during Ramadan, 4 girls escaped from the camp and returned to their families. They were then forcibly returned to the factory. Former Pakistani Prime Minister and opposition leader Imran Khan has suffered a significant setback as dozens of supporters left his party. They have now formed their own party ahead of upcoming parliamentary elections. Khan's party has lost many leaders since May, when violent protests erupted following his arrest on corruption charges. Those were marked by attacks on public and military installations. Observers believe the leaders are being pressured by the country's military establishment to abandon Khan. The rise in violence against black people in Tunisia has raised concerns among activists. They believe Tunisian President Kais Saied's February speech, warning of demographic change and targeting foreigners, has fueled the hatred. In recent months, migrants and native blacks have been attacked. A 2018 law criminalizing racism has been largely ineffective, yet many people are calling for its repeal. Huda Ziodet, a black Tunisian now living in Canada, says racism has become more pronounced in Tunisia. After Saeed's speech, blacks from sub-Saharan Africa were repatriated and evicted from their homes. According to anti-racism group NEMTI, about 10 to 15% of Tunisia's population is black. The demolition of the 300-year-old Al-Siraj Mosque in the southern Iraq city of Basra has sparked outrage. The house of worship was demolished to expand a coastal road. Built in 1727, the mosque was one of the most important historical sites in Iraq and known for its architectural style. The minaret was built of mud bricks and considered unique. Local residents and cultural organizations called its raising a crime against national heritage. The Sunni religious community says it agreed with the mosque's demolition. However, leaders had demanded the minaret be dismantled manually and preserved. A Basra official says Muhammad al-Mullah, who represents the Sunni community, was on site during the demolition and did not object or complain. The municipality promised to build a new mosque and rebuild the old minaret at a nearby site. Local residents say they were shocked the mosque was demolished within minutes. Major political developments took place Tuesday in India ahead of the country's 2024 general elections. 26 opposition parties will run together against Prime Minister Narendra Modi's Hindu nationalist Bharatiya Janata Party in the next elections. The new coalition is named the Indian National Development Inclusive Alliance, or India. Senior opposition leader in Congress, Rahul Gandhi, says the April 2024 election will be a battle of Modi versus India. Congress leader Mallikarjun Kharge says the BJP wants to destroy India by spreading hatred. The alliance will be led by an 11-member coordinating committee. In another significant development, Modi also revived the ruling National Democratic Alliance. This had been dormant since the BJP, its most important component, single-handedly won an overwhelming majority in 2019. Modi brought together 38 smaller parties to form a bloc against a united opposition alliance. That's all from our Chicago studios tonight. Thank you for tuning in. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell icon for the latest updates. For more content, keep watching Muslim Network TV or visit muslimnetwork.tv. Salam and good night.